app now?
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah. Say what it is first.
What?
Say what it is.
39 Steps review, you fucking asshole.
Oh
dang, that would be cute. That's gonna be mad cute. Y'all ain't even ready. Oh, hold on. Go ahead, flex on them.
You watched the 39 Steps?
Yeah.
Which is Alfred Hitchcock's, if I'm not mistaken, first sound film. Mm-hmm. It's in 1935, black and white. Mm-hmm. It is the film that...
I'm just thinking about it. Immediately, like as soon as you say, the 39 Steps, my first thought is, it's just so, as I thought, sleeping behind me back.
It's making love.
Making love behind me back. For me, I feel like the 39 Steps by Alfred Hitchcock is Hitchcock trying to, I guess, do some of the ideas that show up later in his career and do them as a young man breaking into the film industry. But then later on in his life, he perfects those ideas and makes them into into an actual film surrounded around one. But this film is kind of just all of them mashed together.
Okay, so really, this is really early in the film. So we got our man. Where's the title? I forget his name.
Hannay, right?
Yeah, Richard Hannay, right?
Yeah.
So our boy, the film opens. Richard Hannay is at this musical type thing. Okay. So this dude walks on stage, Mr. Memory, who his whole thing is he can say any fact that you bring up to him, right? And our British hero here is name the amount of miles from Winnipeg to fucking Windsor, or whatever the hell it is.
Wait, what's he sound like?
He's Canadian, not British.
No, can we talk about the fact that he said, he asked the question,
and
about Canadian geography, gets ignored, but then when he finally answers him oh, so a Canadian, you're welcome.
Yeah, they say you're welcome.
Congratulates him on being a part of British imperialist society. What the fuck? Yo, who's man? I don't understand how you think this is okay.
Anyway, so they're in the theater and shots go off, right? And so our man, Richard Hannay, stays very clear-headed. He's like, all right, I guess it's time to leave. Walks out casually, like nothing has happened. Whatever. Anyway, so this girl runs up to him and she's like, Richard. She doesn't know his name. She's like, Richard, take me home with you. And he's like, bet. Right. So they get on the trolley.
No, my first thought is yo, this girl trying to get some dick. All right, let's see where this goes.
Okay,
I was not concerned about.
I'm not saying that, but it's if gunshots go off and your first thought is take me home.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they go home. They're sitting there, and then this fucking woman runs into his apartment and goes, turn the lights off.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, I'm shook by this because I've never understood how someone could just be that comfortable going in. She's just like, Richard. Oh my god. Bro.
Okay, that looks bad.
Oh my god.
All right. Let me run through the scene.
Please.
So after the shots go off, she runs up to his apartment and she runs between these two windows, and she's like, turn the lights off. And he's like, okay. And turns them off. And then he's like, why are you being so weird? And there's a lot more to this, but he's like, why are you being so weird? And she's like, I'm a spy. And he's like, you're a spy. And she's like, I prefer the word agent. And he's like, okay. She's like, if you don't believe me, look outside. There's two men. And then he looks outside and he sees two men. He's like, two men, very convincing. You're a secret agent. He does actually believe it. It's much more convincing than I'm making it to be. And then he's like, I guess you'll sleep in my bed then. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I'll make a tramp on the couch? Is that what he says? I'll make a tramp?
Some weird shit. But the whole thing is, he's paying attention to the scene. I'm still stuck on the fact that she's like, yo, there are people outside the door. I'm immediately thinking wow, she's about to get popped right now. She's going to walk by the window and it's going to be bop, bop, bop. And it's going to be over. The movie's going to be done. But it continues somehow. I don't understand.
So he looks outside. He sees the two guys. He's like, all right, you're right. So he takes the couch. She takes the bed. They both go to sleep. Scene change. And then all of a sudden, he's on the couch, and she runs into the room, and she's like, Richard, you're next. Like, holding a
Probably
piece of
the
paper.
greatest on-film death I've
Oh
ever
my
seen
god.
in my
Fucking
entire
falls
life.
over onto his lap like this. Fucking knife.
No,
sticking out of
it's
her
like
back.
a 30-second death scene. Like, homegirl is straight up sitting here trying to, like, act the shit out of
Like,
this so
have
she
you-
can
okay.
have some time.
Have you guys seen that?
my god.
Have you guys seen that Vine where that guy's falling? And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And that's her, but she's dying with a knife in her back, in her spinal column.
Oh my god.
And then my man, no,
Doing the most.
and then my man is just like, oh, I guess she's dead, and like pushes her off and gets up and walks out of the apartment like, I should leave now.
Bro, he was too calm about someone literally having been murdered in his apartment.
But it's like, right, like that's the whole thing about Hitchcock's idea, right? Is like he's trying to pursue this idea of the wrong man, the unknown man who has no real identity, because he's trying to get the audience to push themselves into this character.
Right.
And so by making him cool and in control, he's someone you want to be.
Exactly.
And by having a not very recognizable name, you can become him.
Exactly.
And so we kind of fill this role where it's like, okay, what would we do in this
these
situation? And it's
situations.
like,
Yeah.
you'd like to think that you're cool as hell, that you're supposed to be like, oh, damn, some girl just died in me. Time to leave.
It's crazy because you can see a lot of like Hitchcock in like films that are out now. Like I feel like he's very much like just this and the North by Northwest like crime thriller type thing. There are comedic moments. There are moments in which he's kind of like on the edge and it's like very dangerous and suspenseful. But then like looking back at it now, like we can sit here and laugh about the fact that homeboy was low-key about to fuck old dude's wife at the barn. Like it's insane. But I feel like the influence of Hitchcock has lasted for so long that even now I can see things that he's done that are present in films today.
People are dead to you if they touch you.
I'm quiet. I said nothing. Anyway, so
Alright, so was it a good film?
I really, really like this film. I think it's a great precursor, and it's a great tool.
give him your stars.
I'm getting there.
Okay, bet. Cool.
Are we? I'll wait.
No, go ahead.
Teacher mode.
No,
Anyway.
go ahead. Bet.
I think it's a great precursor to Hitchcock's other films and a great way of understanding who he is and what he's about. And so that being said, I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars.
Why not 5, John?
4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah,
Why not
Why
5?
not 5?
Yeah.
Because it advocates for a lot of assault that isn't answered for and is like considered correct by the film. I think there are some glaring errors, like that editing thing you pointed out in the beginning.
Yeah.
There are just problems with the film that need to be addressed, so it's not perfect. It's 4 out of 5.
That's fair. But I'm gonna have to give it a 3.5. Like soft 3.
So you're yelling at me.
Soft 3 for me.
Wow.
Because, like, honestly, I enjoy Hitchcock and I enjoy the idea of someone, like, growing as a filmmaker. And, you know, having a lot of ideas as a young man and then eventually, over time, figuring out how those work and how to fit them into specific films instead of trying to mash them together. This is honestly, like, a huge step in his evolution as a filmmaker. I feel like he was really trying to
It's not.
convey a lot of ideas, but hadn't fleshed them out yet.
It's not even a huge step though, because it's like his 3rd film. Like he's like
Right.
21 years old. Like he's young.
Exactly. So that's like, it's impressive to watch that, like, for someone that young making something like that, and like
Sound
also
bridge.
being,
That's
you know,
the term, sound bridge.
what? So not the diegetic thing. Diegetic hook. It's
He
sound
uses
bridge.
diegetic hooks, but that's a sound bridge.
Yeah. We just thought of something.
It's
that
the
we-
first sound bridge
Exactly. Boom.
that I've seen
You
in
got
a
it.
sound.